Well, good morning. Thanks, Dawn. Good morning. Thank you. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. This is put on by the Kauffman Foundation up in Kansas City. How many of you guys are new to 1 Million Cups? Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. So we want to let you know what's going on, what's going to happen. 1 Million Cups is something that was started originally by the Kauffman Foundation up in Kansas City. We are in 90 cities across America. We just help run the Orlando one. Every week, we have two entrepreneurs that come in. They pitch their product or their service for 6 minutes, and then there's a 20-minute question and answer session with the audience. So we will have time for questions. If you guys have any questions, make sure to raise your hand. We'll always come around. We want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Rollins for donating their beautiful area for us. Another sponsor, Torch Studios. I have Randall in the back. Hi, Randall. He live streams us, so people down at Canvas, down at Starter Studio, or wherever they would like to stream us, they can stream us and see us every morning. And also, for all of our 1 million cups of coffee, Barney's Coffee. They donate our coffee. If you haven't had a cup, make sure you go out and get some. So let me introduce our staff. I'm Stephanie. This is Jan. Hi, Jan, one of our organizers. We have Isabella, one of our organizers, and we have Angela, one of our organizers. We all work on hugs and volunteers, so if you would like to show us some love socially, we have gracefully put it up for you. Make sure to tweet us out, make sure to follow us on Facebook, and go on our website, and you can follow us there too. Today, we're gonna do things a little bit different. Normally, we always have two entrepreneurs that come in. Today we have one, and we had the best experience last week where these two got to go back to our mothership up in Kansas City and get all the training on how to be a great organizer here. So today I want to introduce these two lovely ladies because they have experienced something that I didn't get to experience staying in Orlando, but they would love to share it. So I'm going to bring up Angela and I'm going to bring up Isabella.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we are really excited to be back from an amazing experience last week, and we learned things about the work we've been doing that we never knew, so that's exciting. The Kauffman Foundation runs 1 Million Cups as an educational program, and I want to give you a little bit of a background on Ewing Kauffman. Ewing Kauffman was the founder of the Kauffman Foundation, and the reason his story is so inspiring is Ewing worked, after serving in the Navy for our country, moved into pharmaceutical sales. And his first year as a pharmaceutical salesperson, he cleared more money than the president of the company in his territory. And the president of the company rewarded him by cutting his territory in half so that he couldn't do it again. So he proved him wrong. The next year, with the smaller territory, he went out and he sold more again than the president of the company took home as a salary. And guess what the president did? Yep, cut it in half again. So he kept reducing the territory. After about the 4th year of this happening, Ewing Marion Kauffman said, I'm done. And he had $5,000 to his name, and he went back to his garage, and this again is why it's always so inspiring, and he decided to start a pharmaceutical company of his own. And eventually he sold that pharmaceutical company for the tune of, I think it's like $900 million, and made 300 people in his company millionaires in Kansas City, Missouri. So if you think that entrepreneurship does not start out of your garage and doesn't come from overcoming adversity and doesn't come from saying, last night we were at Startup Grind, and Richard LaCourse looked at us and he said, my wife tells me the reason I start these companies is because I could never possibly work for anyone else but myself. And that happens to a lot of us. It's what inspires us to come here. It's what inspires us as students to learn about entrepreneurialism, and it's what inspired Marion Kauffman to put together the Kauffman Foundation. And I'm just really proud to be associated with what they're doing because it's all about educating the entrepreneur. They have no agenda. They want to educate and promote because Kansas City is committed to entrepreneurialism. So I'm going to hand off to you to say your favorite thing of last week, and then we'll kind of go back and forth.
It was really a truly amazing experience, and we were so thankful to be able to be there and be a part of it because we got to really meet all of the other organizers from all over the country, from California all the way up to Maine, everywhere. And they were all sharing their stories and some of their challenges that they experienced too. I found that very personally rewarding because we were able to stand out as a chapter that was doing really, really well. And that was that was phenomenal. Being able to connect to the other people that were organizers, they are also entrepreneurs, and that was really another inspiring side of it because they shared some of their own personal frustrations as an entrepreneur. And so there was the organizer side of it, and then there was also the entrepreneur stories.
And I think what Isabella said about being proud of what we do in our community is critical. Typically, you will not see this kind of dog and pony show, right? I mean, we love promoting entrepreneurs. We don't stand up here and talk about ourselves. We're only doing it this week because there were some interesting things that they taught us. One, God bless Ron Benzeev and Shay Glennie and Natalie Caro and the organizers that started this because they set the expectation that we will have 2 entrepreneurs standing on this stage every week. And as organizers, like, we are sweating bullets when we don't, okay? So it's something that we are committed to. That expectation isn't happening necessarily nationwide for a lot of good reasons. I mean, other organizers, they're very committed, their communities are different. But because we get probably this one presenter happens to us once a quarter maybe, because our expectation is that we will have 2 entrepreneurs. We have over 100 presenters every year. And for that, not just us, because we know you guys are all out there advocating. Everyone in the room deserves a round of applause, so yay. Some other things that we learned that I think we're going to be committing to as a group are the idea of getting a media partner. And I know that we're working on this with God Bless Bright House, who's going to start sponsoring some of the work that we do here. We're also maybe going to look for a live tweeter. Best Hour, if you're watching, I'm looking at you.
We also will have a printer because I've got a printer that's going to come and help do some of the printing needs for us.
So we're really going to set up allies in the community to help us grow our organization. So if you know of anyone that's interested in promoting entrepreneurship or provides a service that we can use as an organization, please send them to us because we think that's mission critical to our success. So I think that's kind of the highlights of last week, except for what we're about to show them, and then that might bring up some more questions.
I think so. Well, and this was really good. When we were asking in the among the other organizers, how do you go and get your people to come and pitch? Many of them did share that they are connected to a lot of the co-working spaces and some of the same venues that we are. Any of the Entrepreneur Center, those were really good connections to have. But when we shared that we were going to be live streaming at all of these other sites too, they went, wow, that's really great. And they hadn't thought about that. So that is a really good way to have outreach into the community.
Yeah, we were kind of rock stars as Orlando. Not me and Isabella, but as Orlando, we were rock stars in Kansas City. So what we're going to do today is showcase something that we may start doing a bit as a pilot program here, bringing alumni back who have presented and done well since presenting. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you the presenter that showcased his alumni experience from Kauffman last week at the Kansas City 1 Million Cups presentation. And the reason we want to show him is because he said a lot of really important things about your journey as an entrepreneur, and we think this is a good educational point, so we are going to be incorporating some more educational points based on what Kauffman gives us and what this presenter gave us. And then afterwards, so be thinking of this now, especially if you're a regular here, we'd like to have a little bit of an open discussion as to what 1 Million Cups has contributed to your business, your life as a starter or a founder, or just your feeling about this community. We're going to kind of have an open discussion before we have our presenter, our startup founder, speak. So take a gander, and then we'll talk. Thanks.
One Million Cups is a weekly educational program developed by the Kauffman Foundation.
Over the years, we've added more cities. Creates a great energy here to see what's happening across the country.
What I've learned from other entrepreneurs is very, very valuable. Sitting in a room with other people that have ideas too, it helps people to leave thinking, you know what, my idea is worth something. It's worth pursuing. It's worth going after it. Even if it looks like a challenge, I should still go out and try to do it.
Good morning. Good morning. All right, welcome to 1 Million Cups. I'm one of the organizers. I'm Milton. I'm here with Brian, Toby, and Britton. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. For those of you that are here for the first time, let me at least explain what 1 Million Cups is. It's an educational program designed by the Kauffman Foundation. Typically, we bring in 2 entrepreneurs. They come and tell their story for about 6 minutes, then we open it up to the audience for a Q&A. Today, we're doing our Tough Decisions panel, and we also have an alumni presenter that's going to come and give us an update as to where they are now, type of thing, from their previous presentation here. So let me ask this question. Who's here for the first time today? Welcome. Round of applause. Yes, thank you. Can I see of hands of some of our veteran 1MCers? All right, we've got a few here. Well, welcome to all of you today. To get the show started, we are actually going to bring up John Ruiz from EB Systems. They use apps and Bluetooth beacons to make companies more efficient. He's going to tell us kind of where he's been and where he's going. Let's hear it for John.
Is this thing on? Hi there. Hey everyone, my name is John Ruiz. I'm the CEO of EB Systems. This is actually my 3rd time presenting at 1 Million Cups. So today I'm just going to update you on some lessons I've learned since the last time we presented. Back then, the company was actually called eBeacons Public Safety Services. We were going to make the world safer using mobile apps. We wanted to put a panic button in the pocket of every student and citizen so they could easily reach emergency services. And back then, there was a lot of excitement around this idea. We had landed some pretty big pilot projects. We had investors who were interested and ready to give us some money. And usually in the entrepreneurial life, when everything is going good, that's when something wrong happens. And that's exactly what did happen. First off, some of the target markets we were involved in were just taking too long. The sales cycle was dragging on. 4 weeks turned into 4 months, and there really wasn't any resolution in sight. Secondly, the investors were just starting to lose interest. They're wondering, when is a university going to pay you? How long is that going to take? What if the app doesn't work? We're going to get sued, and all that investment money is going to be gone. And lastly, what it came down to was, you know what? Get someone to pay you for this first, and then come and talk to us about investment. So at that time as well, my current technical partner unfortunately had to leave the company. Student loan payments were looming, and he had to go get a job. So my current business partner and I took a step back, and we needed to make a change. So we did the fabled pivot, and we had to pivot. So we had some exciting pilots lined up, but we decided to focus on a pilot we had secured with a private security company for a couple reasons, mainly because there's one CEO, one decision maker, and one person who signs the check. And luckily, the CEO of the company that we were working with was also a mentor of ours. So we went to him, and quite frankly, we asked him, look, what would you pay for? What would you pay us for? At this point, we're kind of yes men. We're trying to figure out how can we get this thing launched. We talked about it, and we all agreed that giving his clients a panic button to call security guards may not be the best route. There could be someone who cries wolf 10 times a day, and it's just added work for his employees. So we landed on this concept of mobile workforce management. Essentially, the security officers would use the mobile app to check into patrol points and show that they made it to their work sites. Also, the company was still doing paper reports. So we made them completely paperless. They filled out reports using the mobile app. We gave them a database. And lastly, we were able to add a revenue stream in the form of a client portal. Now his clients can view all their data in real time, and it's just an added level of service, and they could also upcharge for that. So after landing on this concept, he said, yes, I'll pay for it. He signed the contract. Then we called up the investors. And now that we had a paying client, they wanted to talk to us again. They were very interested. And so we went back to them, and we were able to secure 10 different angel investors with 10 different investment packages, and it'd be over a 6-figure seed round. So we're young men, 23-year-olds, that's big money for us, so we're really excited. So we go into the, finalization meeting or whatever, and I don't know if these guys just got done watching a Shark Tank marathon or what, because they tore us apart. They were just, it was batting practice. One guy would throw up a softball like, hey, Bob, didn't you talk to your buddy out in the valley? They said it was a little risky. We need at least double the equity, right? And he'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to need some more equity, and that client you got, we're going to need a royalty on that every month. And so we're sitting here and we're thinking, well, we got the money, we got a six-figure check coming our way, but these guys wanted almost half the company, and they wanted a quarter of our monthly revenues. So we took a step back and we decided, all right, we don't need these guys. We got a client. Let's do this thing on our own. So we looked at our options and we decided to only take on one of the investors who had 30 years IT experience and also was willing to work with me to program the back end and the database. So really, we still needed a mobile developer, so we decided to use a piece of equity to partner with a mobile platform company here in town, Moblico Solutions. So not only were we able to get a production-ready mobile app, but we also had discounted continued customer service. So really, we had our MVP, and we were launched, and we were making money. So I'm not going to stand up here and act like we got rich overnight. This was about 7 or 8 months ago, but since then, we got real traction in the form of a paying client. And so some of my advice to the entrepreneurs out there, just a quick piece of advice, especially here in Kansas City, in the Midwest, we're not on the coasts. It's a different climate here as far as business and how things go. So focus on making money before you worry about taking money, okay? People get lost in the flashing lights of big investment rounds and getting bought out before they even figure out how are we going to get started and how are we going to start generating revenue. Getting a paying client is the best thing you can do because it opens doors, especially to investors here in KC who are more risk adverse. They want to see traction, but also you're making money. We can use that to hire people. We're developing intellectual property, and we're able to expand to high growth markets. So on that note, for Q&A, I just want to tee it up. Ask me about our business, what we're doing, some of the exciting markets we're in. Also, too, if you're a young entrepreneur, I have a lot of experience with that here in Kansas City, so ask me about some of my experiences. And also, too, I would like to start emerging as a community leader and a thought leader, and I actually kind of dawned on me that my dream job would be to be the Chief Innovation Officer of Kansas City, Missouri. So feel free to ask me some general questions about the innovation landscape here in Kansas City. I'll get my politician hat on and try to answer them as best I can. So on that note, I guess I can go to questions.
John, thank you. We will open it up to the audience for questions.
And actually, we're going to open it up to our audience. Whoa, amazing technology. So the reason we showed that is because we thought it was really interesting to see an alumni come back and tell what the value he found was at 1 million cups. And I love what he said about worry about making money before you worry about taking money. That has become a really valuable lesson for me working on starting a company myself right now. So that was my takeaway, and it's kind of one of the things that I learned. I see our regulars in the audience, and I'm hoping they're going to share. Now, Bill with Auto Retainer promised me he was going to be here because he has a great story. So you want to share a success story? So we're going to share some success stories of what you've learned at 1 Million Cups, and we're going to open that up for our discussion right now. So
there was a company, it's Trekkaroo, right? That was it? The one with the bike. She came up here and she had pitched here at 1 Million Cups, and then she also pitched at the NABO, which is the National Alliance of Women Business Owners. She pitched there and she got money. She won, and she told me, she said the reason why she did so well is because she had pitched here and she had received positive feedback about how to tweak her presentation. So that was huge, and she won a sizable sum of money. So having that backup of the NABO and it being able to make that presentation, it helps you to get over yourself when you're up here because it looks scary to be up on the stage. And I know everybody in the audience has done some kind of a presentation, and there's always that little flutter of nervousness that you have. But everybody in this audience is here to support you and actually be able to give you suggestions on how to take you up to that next step. So that's one of the best benefits of being in 1 Million Cups and getting that positive feedback.
Anybody else want to chime in with a success story from having pitched here? I see her thinking about it. All right, I'll take you off the hook and give you a minute. Okay, but I want to share another story that we had from Bill with Auto Retainer. He presented about 6 weeks ago.
That sounds right.
So I won't disclose the amount, but he told me last night that within 6 days of his presentation, he inked a deal based on someone sitting in this audience. And I think that that deserves a round of applause. That's
Real
kind of
simple
amazing.
photos. Real simple photos. He pitched like 5 weeks ago. He walked out with a couple of clients also, he told me. So that's really another success story. So you can get clients from here, but you can also do an awful lot for your business. It gives you a lot of visibility and, again, the right connections.
And I don't want to limit this just to startups talking about it. I'm a service provider, right? I help startups as a marketing professional. And the chief thing that I've learned in my entire experience at 1 Million Cups is that collaborating with my competitors gets me much more money than looking at them as only competitors. I have worked with at least 3 agencies in the room here and have found that we have fed off each other's strengths and weaknesses to get new business. So I think that that's really important. So if you're a service provider in the audience and you've taken something away from 1 Million Cups, we're opening it up to you.
I'm here. Hi. I actually have a success story. So my company, we help do the data in the back end. We love doing this. And we have adopted one of the entrepreneurs that came out of here. Her name is Haley Bashir. She owns Maddie Apparel. She works for domestic houses. So every piece of lingerie that a woman buys, it's donated to a domestic house. That's something that's not talked about enough. It's not given enough. And you can't really pass down used underwear. So she has come up with this business, and it's a beautiful thing. She moved back to Kansas City. She's in 3 boutiques, and she just got her second manufacturing warehouse. And she has hit the press at so much. There are so many stories on her. She's blowing up Kansas City. But it's because she presented at this 1 Million Cups. Then she went up to Kansas City, presented at that 1 Million Cups. She took a trip to California. She presented at that 1 Million Cups. So she is just spreading like wildfire. But it's exciting to watch that and just kind of push that and help it happen. So that's a wonderful success story.
The Passport program is something that once you present here, it allows you to go and present at any one of the other 1 Million Cups nationally. And that is for free. And so you get to go make a presentation. And again, it's a way to get your message out. Come on in. So that's something that we would encourage. And then just as Angela had shared, I have a business also, and so that's one of the reasons I'm here. My services are internship compliance programs, and then also helping a lot of the small businesses be able to outsource any of their needs that they have. So we have we hit our threshold? Is there anything? We're good, okay.
Thanks, Jan.
All right, so thank you. I wasn't sure where we were in our time factor. So we do want to go ahead and open up. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to share with our audience, with everyone else in the audience? Yes, Jan.
I knew you would.
Right, so
why was this good for you?
Okay, good. So I'm just going to say what I'm going to say, right? So to me, the amazing thing about 1 Million, and hi, I'm sorry, I'm Jan Edwards, and I own Paving the Way, and I've actually done a couple of metamorphosis from presenting at Paving the Way, from presenting here. But for me, and I would assert for just about everybody else, it's the connections. I have made so many connections here that have helped me in my business. They've helped me brainstorm things. They've really helped me gone, Jan, are you really sure you want to do that? Oh, no, maybe not. And to me, that's the biggest value is, and you're in an entrepreneurial space and it's safe. So it's safe, it's fun, it's simple to do, and it gets, you the courage to step out and do something else. I know, it does. It gives you the courage. But Jennifer has helped me with my book. I met Gina. She had her film premiere on Monday, which was phenomenal, by the way. She's actually going to help me produce my film. I know. So, anyway, So that's the thing, is you have no idea who and what you're going to meet here.
Thank you, Jan. Give her a round of applause.
Yeah. Thanks, Jan.
We're going to introduce Alex Miller for Alex Miller Organics.
Hello, my name is Alex Miller with Alex Miller Organics. I presented at this 1 Million Cups last semester, earlier in the spring, and then I presented over the summer in St. Pete. So speaking on the Passport program, that's how I kind of bounced around. And then from St. Pete, I met someone who wanted me to speak at University of Tampa. So then last week, I was in University of Tampa speaking about the company. So sales aren't there yet, but kind of getting the word out has helped me through 1 million cups. So that's where my gratitude is using it as a platform to get Alex Moore Organics kind of like in front of people who are important, like all of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Becky said as long as they didn't make her stand up in front of everyone, she would talk a little bit about the benefits that Rollins receives from being a sponsor.
Hi, my name's Becky, and I'm part of the Center for Advanced Entrepreneurship, which is part of Crummer Graduate School here at Rollins. Rollins is thrilled to be able to host this program and give entrepreneurs a chance to do their thing and give them visibility and expose them to the college and the programs that we have here, as well as giving students, both undergraduate and graduate, a chance to be a part of the entrepreneurial community and see what it's all about and see if that's where they want to go.
Thank you, Becky.
And I'm going to add to that something I learned at Kaufman last week, which I think is really interesting. So, all of the programs that we have in Central Florida, and we have a lot of them to promote entrepreneurship, they all need money to run. I mean, everyone needs influx of cash. So I do know that Kaufman, and we have a visitor coming from this department next week, so I'm sure she'll speak more about it. But Kaufman is putting together a fund, and they're going to give ways for centers like yours, for Canvas, hi Canvas, everybody wave at Canvas, for Catalyst, for Starter Studio, for programs that encourage entrepreneurship to apply to get funds to fund their program. So I think that that's a really interesting step that the Kaufman as the foundation is taking, because they are really committed to letting the foundation serve the country, serve entrepreneurship. And it's so funny because I think we can do this in Orlando, and I'm going to issue a challenge. But in Kansas, the idea of being an entrepreneur is just part of their DNA. Like, they wake up in the morning. It's so cool. You know how you go to an Orlando store and you see the great Orlando Magic things and you see Disney stuff and you see all the, or go to another community that maybe doesn't have quite as much tchotchke as we do. And you see the sports team, the shot glass, right? The this, the that, the other. In Kansas, I went to a store. I got really lucky. I had a friend, Nancy Alpers, who used to be one of our organizers, lives in Kansas City, and she took me to a store called the Kansas City Store. And in that store, yeah, they had the obligatory shot glass, right, and the tchotchke, but 90% of the store were products that were now actual companies and businesses started out of Kansas City. Everything from a woman who started this sock company in her garage, where when you are at yoga and you look down at your toes, it says things like, I am grateful, or I am brave, or I am fabulous, right? So you look at your socks while you're in yoga and you're telling yourself these great messages. And she started a company, and they promote this. They have coffee roasters and, of course, barbecue. So good. But barbecue rubs, and they just had a series of things. So I would love to see us start a store in Orlando that showcases all the products that we are bringing out of this community. So I just think that that spirit is really important and really contributing. Now, I see we have a lot of students. I'd love for someone who's brave to say what you want to learn from this experience. Anyone?
There's actually students from Full Sail and Rollins.
Yay.
So a little competition to see which one of the schools is going to stand up, I guess. We should ask.
It is 9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning.
It's okay.
It is student sleep time, right? So, oh, good, thanks, Don.
Don, you're not a student.
But this is going to be for the benefit of students. There's a number of people that'll be in this room week to week that are mentor types. Mentors don't pursue you. It's not their job. The reason I'm sharing this is because there have been people in here that I've given opportunities to connect to the CEO of BP or Conoco or Enterprise. I mean, and they go, oh man, that's awesome. And they don't follow through. Do you know how many different outcomes there would have been if people had followed through on the leads that were offered? And so, my word to you is, if you really want to get the most benefit, is to really pursue the things that you're looking for. And when somebody offers something, realize, yeah, they may be genius that you've been created to bring to the world. But the bottom line isn't their job to pursue you, it's your job to pursue them. So I'm saying that lovingly because I feel there's a lot more internal wealth and external wealth available in this room week to week than most people know. And so you've got to have your eyes open and be looking for it and then follow through.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you allowing us this break from our traditional programming, kind of like a presidential debate or something. So thank you so much for giving us this time this morning to talk about what we went through and experienced last week, and hopefully it'll bring you some benefit as well. But I'm going to go ahead and without further ado, return to our normal programming. And we want to say thanks to Jones Levinson, who is going to be presenting Kritik, who is starting a company. And welcome, Jones.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I had Austin's coffee, and I'm sitting back here. It's my first. I'm not really a coffee drinker, but my heart is like, that stuff is insanely strong. Good job, Austin. So can I just see before I start, like, show of hands, who's a student? Who's a Full Sail student? Rollins wins. So sorry, guys. What about like professors? Just one, two. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. And anyone else? Otherwise? No. All school people. That's cool. Loved seeing that. Thank you guys for having me. Very excited to be here. And we're here. I talk loud, and so is this a good spot right here? Okay, I'll just do it like this. So what I'm looking for today is exactly what was just brought up. I'd love feedback on my pitch. I'd love, from here, I'm sort of taking this to investors. The next step is to continue bootstrapping and then looking for investment as well. So drill me on my pitch, tell me what's wrong, tell me what I can do better. That's gonna help me out a lot. I'll just say like, next. Excellent, awesome. So, good morning. You're gonna have to talk because I'm probably gonna have some call and response, and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good time. So raise your hand if you watch movies. Yeah, that's everyone. Good job. Okay, so raise your hand if you've ever seen a bad movie. Yeah, everyone. I'll put both hands up. Jazz hands. So at Kritik, we want to help save you from ever seeing a bad movie again. Kritik is a social networking platform where people can rate and review movies and TV series. So we are Yelp for entertainment. Our app is a hub where people can express opinions on popular entertainment in an environment designed with the user in mind. Already got it. So today, the distribution of media is experiencing a paradigm shift. The way we consume content has become limitless. We know where to watch. Netflix, HBO, Amazon. We know when to watch, anytime. We know how to watch from our smart TVs, mobile devices, laptops, and Apple Watches and Apple earrings and whatever else they're coming out with this year. But why do we watch something? During our customer validation, we found that 80% of movie watchers now feel the greatest struggle is figuring out why to watch anything. Let me see a show of hands. Who's ever been to the theater and left feeling like they wasted money? Everyone, oh my gosh, look around. So this is the largest audience I pitched to, so it's, yeah, great, fantastic. And that's because when you can't find the right resources, you might end up in the movie theater, $15 down, and another Transformers sequel, wondering why a Victoria's Secret model is trying to act. At Kritik, we answer that why by giving the content consumer a base camp for the exploration of new titles and artists. So utilizing Kritik's algorithms, we will recommend like-minded users and cultivating informed discussion and motivating return activity. 50,000 movies come out every year. As a content consumer, I don't know the first place to start. So how can we decide what to watch? Well, during our validation, we found that 92% of people now feel, 92% of people watch something based on word of mouth. That's 92%, and yet there's no tool based around this fact. So our concept is simple. Choose a title, score a grade from 1 to 10, write a 140-character review. Reviews post to a profile where friends can read, comment, upvote, and downvote. Not only is this a great way to keep track of the content that you're consuming, but it's the best way to keep track of the content your friends are consuming and what they think about it, all in a safe and secure platform. So if you go to Facebook or Twitter today and you search for a hashtag of any title out today, you'll find literally thousands and thousands and thousands of reviews per title. Easy integration with Facebook and Twitter makes Kritik a more attractive method for posting reviews. So what's the point? Why, other than the instinctual need to express myself and share culture, why would I want to write how I feel about a title? Well, I'm glad I asked. Our Discover tool takes all of my ratings and shows me titles similar to the ones that I rate highly. So if you're familiar with Spotify, a lot like Spotify's Discover tool. Not only that, but it recommends new titles based on the people that I'm following and what they rate highly. Discover will also know if I value someone's taste by measuring what reviews I upvote and downvote, providing precision-based recommendations. Oh yeah, so these is sort of, you can click through that to get your, and the next. Got it? Visually? Excellent. Man, I need to get closer to this thing. All right, so Discover also has a great tool to suit how you feel. When I'm writing a new review, I can apply tags similar to a hashtag to summarize the movie or TV show. For instance, comedy, feel good, rainy day. Then I can use Discover search tool to sift through the entire library of tags and find movies that are sometimes based on oddly specific phrases like Leonardo DiCaprio without a shirt. Ow! So, now, don't get excited. Or get excited, okay, whatever, yeah. So now you know what to watch, but where is it available? The new app, Go Watch It, is an amazing new tool, a free app that's out now that shows you exactly where you can watch any title. We've developed a relationship with this company, and they've been kind enough to allow us to test out their brand new widget. So fret not, soon you'll know exactly where to see Shirtless Leo. So using Go Watch It, I can search subscription services like Netflix and Hulu. I can search digital stores like iTunes and Amazon for exact prices, and even movie theater showtimes. So with this feature, Kritik truly becomes a one-stop shop for what, why, and where to consume media. Currently, there is some competition out there, specifically Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. However, these sites are focused on professional reviews, not the general public, and they both sport a clunky and out-of-date interface. Kritik doesn't just show ratings and reviews, but helps engage and guide people to new titles tailored to their tastes and interests. Kritik is the first review service of its kind, as no review service aggregates ratings based on only the people that you follow. Kritik has the advantage of being social, mobile, and centered around the user's opinion, not an interpretation of a professional critic's article. So, how do we make money? Today, if you go to most sites, you'll find banner ads and pop-ups, which are super obnoxious, aren't they? So, man, it's on the stage is nice up here. I like this. I just want to call and response. Has anyone seen Requiem for a Dream? Yeah? Can you repeat after me? Ads, ads, ads. Ads, ads, ads. We've got a winner. It's a very bleak movie. I'm sorry. It's a weird reference. Yeah, us, the coffee. That's what it is. I'm dying. So advertising is our primary revenue stream. But what we want to do something a little different with it because normal ads, banner ads, and pop-up ads get on average a click-through rate of 0.06%. Garbage. Even if you're Facebook, who's making jillions of billions, but their advertising is not their primary source of revenue. So what we'd like to do is make advertising part of the Kritik experience. So by teaming up with production studios and other entertainment affiliates, we can drive revenue by using our integrated ads within the Kritik site and app. For instance, if there's a new movie coming out, we'll take that trailer and put it directly into someone's feed of someone who actually wants to see that movie based on their taste. Another example would be if a TV show is coming out on DVD, we're going to put it directly in the suggestion panel. If a movie's posted new to Netflix, we're going to put it at the top of your Discover page, specifically based on your taste. The second way we're going to make money is Pro Plan membership. So our Pro Plan members will be treated like professional critics, and they'll have the ability to link out to full-length articles and blogs. They'll have the ability to add YouTube video reviews. They'll also be able to customize their profile to help them stand out, as well as, and most importantly, they'll have more exposure throughout the site, gaining them quality followers and prestige throughout all of their networks. So this is a $200 billion industry. And while we're not trying to enter it, we do intend to facilitate it. So if you've ever wasted 2 hours on a bad movie, or 22 hours on a bad first season, because I know I have, then our product is for you. So join me and be the first to take part in a new way of experiencing digital media that will lay the foundation for the most exciting industry out there, entertainment. Kritik is looking for an investment of $100,000 that will fund us through year one, develop a desktop site, and followed shortly after by a mobile app. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my presentation. My name is Jones, and this is Kritik.
So we're opening up for questions. We have one up here in the front.
So, you're next, Jan. So I am going to pass along a piece of advice that I got last Friday, which I think will help your presentation. Your point of paying for your customer, I didn't get until about your 5th slide in. My first 3 or 4 slides, I was going, how is this different from Fandango or Rotten Tomatoes or any of those things? But when you got to the I recommend movies based on like users' mindset, that was great. So someone told me that when you're pitching to an investor, point of pain, what the problem is, how you solve it, first slide out. Just a tip whether you take it or not. Okay.
Yeah, I'd love advice on that, like the reordering. I want to know if the pitch flows well, that sort of thing. That's great. Great. I feel that way. How's my hair?
Your hair looks awesome.
Is it good?
Just so it's good.
I brought a headband just in
Okay,
case.
so we have a question on this side.
I am an investor, so I'm interested when you say it's a $200 billion business. That's like saying education is a $1 trillion business and I sell pencils.
Sure.
In fact, your total addressable market is infinitely smaller than $200 billion.
Yes.
I listen to your pitch. What I hear is curated social media content on a freemium model with an advertising back end. I don't know. Doesn't really seem like a 2015 business model. We've been doing that for about 10 years now, and it's tough to get something like that funded today.
Sure. Understood. Man, I brought a jump drive I'd love to put in. Let's see if it's up here. It is in my pocket. So I'm sure you've probably, let's see. Well, I wanted to plug something in. Is that the only USB? Never mind. Okay. I'm sure you've seen the graphic that is pointing out the top leaders in industry today are, it's Uber and Alibaba and there's another like green foods company or something. And the point of the graphic is, and I'll show you in a second, is basically saying that the leaders in the industry don't actually have any product that they're selling. They're facilitating the industry. So when I say that it's a $200 billion industry, of course I'm referring to movies and television, which is a monster industry. So what we would like to do is be the first to really begin facilitating that industry, because right now, the reason that people go see something is either a movie critic, which is super lame. I think everyone in here can agree with that. Because we trust our friends over, an old guy with a computer on his laptop on a lazy boy. And then Rotten Tomatoes is the primary facilitator right now. And it's an unreliable service. In fact, during our validation, we found that, what, no good? Okay. During the validation, we found that that was a huge struggle, was that people were using, in fact, it's where the idea came from, was people were using Rotten Tomatoes to make their decision for them and finding it to be an unreliable service. So, yes, there are services out there like ours. There are a lot trying to do it in a new way, and there are a lot trying to do it in an outdated way, and no one's quite gotten it yet. I would say that our closest competitor is an app called Tink, which is T-I-N-Q, and I would love, take down my contact information, download the app, see what you think, and then give me feedback on it, because I don't know what to think. I can't figure it out. It's a bad layout. It's a Turkish app, which doesn't bode well for it, I guess. But yes, there are services out there like ours. This is nothing new. We're not reinventing the wheel. But what we are doing is developing a product based on the validation that we've gotten from people who want something like this.
Question over here.
You know, I'd really look, and I'm sure you're doing this, but I'd really look at Amazon.com as a model, because that, for a baby boomer, I'm a power Amazon user, and that's where I go to get my star ratings. But I will tell you, they don't own the world, right? There's lots of people that do it, and I'll have a tendency to use apps that are similar to apps that I've used in other venues, right? So if there was an app or something that connected me to Amazon.com without me lining into Amazon.com, I would probably think about that. But Amazon, I think, is
Guess what? We're geniuses together. You want to know why? This is the genius moment. Someone brought it up. Be in this moment with me. Okay. All right. So there are a lot of ways to reach our target market. The primary reason for making something like Kritik is, I know this is frustrating to hear, but it's to make a timely and strategic exit at some point. Because you don't make this and sell products, you make this and sell it to another company. So the best way to do that is by integrating Kritik with other companies. So the future, in my opinion, we will not have launched until we have a usable widget. And that widget is going to work with services like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. And let me tell you why this is genius. Because if I sign up for Netflix, when I sign in or sign up, I'm going to be given the option to connect your Kritik account. So that way, when I'm going through Netflix, I'm seeing my personal rating based on the people that I follow, and maybe a few quips from their own reviews. And this is important because that makes us an affiliate for Netflix, and it's also connecting people who sign up for Netflix with us. So if we can get that in with Netflix, HBO, Amazon, Hulu, Crackle, ePix, the list keeps going. It's endless because the way that people are consuming content now is from whatever their favorite service is, Amazon. If you go to Amazon and look at video games today, there's a Metacritic score there, even though people aren't exactly using Metacritic for video games in that way. So that's what we want to take that. Exactly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Jan.
Sorry.
That's okay. Someone's here.
You can be next. Good morning. So, okay, you had me at I'm Yelp for movies. I'm a huge Yelp fan.
Me too.
And so that connected it for me, much to Angela's point, right? Is in that moment I got what you did. Move that up. Right? It's because I would assert the average age of the investors are going to be the people that have already talked.
Sure.
And I would assert they use Yelp. I don't know. You can ask them. So here's my question. So that's a statement, a share question. How are you going to market this such that the guy that uses Amazon, along with my daughter who is a power, she's 23, she's a power Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, you know, she's that generation, right? How are you going to market to him and her?
Sure. So, and afterwards, if you want to talk more go-to-market strategy, I'd be happy to. But so, really, it's three primary ways. The first is going to be, and this is easy, is social sharing. So because Kritik is integrated with Facebook and Twitter, and actually we found during the validation that most of our users are on Tumblr, and I wasn't a Tumblr user, now I am. Actually, now I'm an addict. If anyone's using Tumblr, just try and stop, because I don't think it's good for you. So when I'm posting a new review, I'll have the option to share it to Facebook and Twitter. And that's great because, again, if you go to Facebook or Twitter and you search for a movie, you're going to get thousands of reviews. So instead of just seeing text or seeing, here's an image from the theater earlier when I was with my buds, you're going to see something flashy like a screenshot with the rating, with your profile picture, a little preview of the review, and then maybe something like, if you want to read the rest of the review, click here, and then it'll take you to Kritik, and you can check it out. So the first is easy, social sharing. The second is going to be search engine optimization. So what does that mean for Kritik? It's not as basic as you think. So if you go to Google and you search for a movie, you're likely going to get two top results. The first is going to be IMDb, and the second is going to be Rotten Tomatoes. After that, it's kind of a crapshoot. It varies. Sometimes Wikipedia, and then usually just links from professional movie critics. So it is integral to the success of Kritik to become either the third or at least on that first page as a result for each movie. And unfortunately, the best way to do that is to have a bunch of users using Kritik. So that's the second way. The third way, I should stop and say, the go-to market strategy is a little more complex, but the best way that we would like to start out by social proofing the site is to start out with film students. I was a film student. I know what that environment's like. It's exhausting. And all you do is talk about movies and TV all day long for years because that's what all your friends are doing. So if we could get 1,000 film students to start out at the MVP, we're just going to blow up, which is very exciting. Let's see where I saw. So the search optimization and the film students? I'll go see them in person. So as a film student, I actually have a pretty broad network of other film students, of alumni, and also professors, which is great. So I have connections at USC, UCLA, Tisch, SCAD, and UCF and Full Sail here too. So that alone is several hundred, with the various programs, which is, that's exciting.
Okay, so there's a question up here, and then I'll come over on this side too.
Great job being inclusive and approachable. Just want to say that.
Thank you.
Welcome. I went to New York University, and I didn't major in film, but we would get people coming up to us and asking us what we would be interested in, do we want Keanu Reeves in this kind of movie? Just all the time. I don't know, it just happened in that area. And one thing that I noticed is when I go to movies, I don't see the ones that I want to watch.
Yeah.
Right? I have a specific taste. And so I'm wondering, are you going to maybe sell some of the ideas that when you find out how many people are interested in one kind of film or another, maybe to producers or independent film companies?
Sure. Yeah, there's been some discussion about that, mostly because of IMDb. And I'm sure everyone here is familiar with IMDb. IMDb also has a rating service, but the primary use of IMDb is, I should point out, IMDb, between their app and their mobile site and their desktop site, they get 200 million uniques per month. That's insane. They're worth more than people think they are. But ratings and reviews are like way low on their priority list because they're using it as an industry tool. So if I work in the entertainment industry, I have to have an IMDb Pro account so I can sign up, get my name and specific credits. And so they're using that as a talent search tool. So yes, in the future, something we'd really, really, really like to consider is becoming an industry tool where people can search for talent. I guess I should specify, less search for talent and maybe more search for a type of something. So if I'm looking for good cinematography, I'll go to search tool and I'll type in cinematographer from, Paul Thomas Anderson or something, and then it's going to list all of these movies. So that's, yes, definitely a great way to search through, and we can maybe specify it and make it more useful for someone in the industry further down the road. Not an MVP feature, but yeah, at some point, definitely.
Okay.
Hey.
One of the nice things about 1 Million Cups is that, this is a place where we all can learn from each other.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say about your presentation, I could probably say about 90% of the ones that have preceded you. And probably our investor friend back there would go, yeah, amen. One of the next things that's most important, it isn't the idea. It's the team capable of supporting the idea. Do you know what Key Man Insurance is?
Sorry, Team Man Insurance?
Key Man.
Key Man Insurance. I do not
Yeah,
know.
when you're a lone soldier on the battlefield of life, or in investor lands, we call that dead meat. Basically, you want to have Key Man Insurance because let's say that they invest $1 million in you. The only way they know that this dream will perpetuate itself, and it won't if you get hit by a bus, is if you have Key Man Insurance policy to give them their $1 million back. So money is attracted, first of all, to team, passion, and vision. Your idea fits in that vision portion somewhere in there. So the next thing that I would do is borrow bios. This is big. This is how a lot of people get money. They actually borrow the bios. One of the things I do for a lot of companies, I go, let me get you some bios of friends and let me introduce them, and cool. I'm sure they'll love you, blah, blah, blah. And then they go, yeah, okay, well, you can borrow my bio for the next 3 months. Then if you're really smart, you turn around to that bio and go, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 3% of my company if I can borrow your bio for 3 years. Now they have your bio, right? But they now have a piece of your company, and now they're the ones that have the contact grid with the money. They are the magnets for the money. So just a little.
So are you so bio in terms of maybe posting something
yeah,
here? Is
you
that what
got
you're saying?
Yeah, I'm a mentor with Startup Quest. There's David Zumwalt behind me. And on my team, I've got an advisory board that we borrowed bios of monsters. I borrowed David's bio. Did you know that, David? Yeah. Okay.
It's plagiarism.
I thought so. But that's because that's the first thing. We have to pitch on Friday to a bunch of vulture capitalists. And they're the judges for this 10-week contest of what we put together. And the bottom line is they're going to look and go, damn, they got some players. Because it's about, if you have an A team with a B plan, you'll get the money. Sure. If you have an A plan with a B team, you don't. So my suggestion is borrow some bios.
We should talk after. Okay. I want those bios.
I always share everything in love. Just know that.
Hi, good morning. I just
Hi.
wanted to touch upon the connection to Yelp again. The buzz in the community is that Yelp is actually starting to really flounder. So I wouldn't necessarily hitch your wagon to that. Yeah. And on the business side and talking to investors, I mean, reviewers love Yelp. There's a lot of, and I mean, I do social marketing, and we can do a lot of great things through Yelp for our customers, but the business owners get very, very frustrated with the business model for Yelp. So talking to investors and comparing yourself to Yelp might not be something that's beneficial for you.
We should talk after because I'd love to know what they're saying about Yelp, actually. I know Yelp's floundering. I know they're worth $3.5 billion, but they're looking to sell. I know that. I would say a more accurate comparison would be something in between maybe Spotify and 8-Tracks, but I recognize that those are less well known. It's sort of easier to say Yelp. But the fact is that we are a suggestion service like Spotify except we're not providing content. And then we use a lot of features that you can find on 8-Tracks, such as tagging, being able to sift through a library of tags. We've taken a lot of little features from all these different sites, Amazon and Spotify and 8-Tracks and Yelp as well. So it's a medley of things, but probably the closest and biggest thing that's similar to what we're doing is going to be Yelp. That's why I use that. But if anyone else has another suggestion, sock it to me.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up the questions right now. I know that I saw some people, that you wanted to ask, but you can feel free to stay after and ask them. We do have that one last question in the spirit of 1 Million Cups. What can we do today, us here, for you and your company?
Yeah. A few things. I brought my laptop. I'd love to have testers. I need testers for the prototype. I'm getting great feedback so far, but the more people I have interacting with it, the better, a product we're going to have. So please, if you're interested in testing, I have a working prototype. It's a lot of fun. Come over and see me, and I'll get all of your super secret contact information. The next thing would be moving towards investing at this point. So if you have someone in your life that you think might be interested, that's something that I need to know. The same goes for developers. I have several developers on hand, but the more I have, the more brains, the better, in my opinion. So if you have developers who this is kind of up their alley, you think they might be interested, come let me know, or email me. If today is not the day to talk in person, we should email or call or whatever. And then hashtags. The final thing would be our hashtag is Kritik. Also, we do not have a Twitter handle yet. We are negotiating the purchase of the one that exists already. So hashtag Kritik, please, and
entertainment, TV, and movies all will trend for you.
Sure.
I already checked those.
And maybe better than Rotten Tomatoes. Let's try that too.
All right, well, let's give a round of applause to Jones Levinson and Kritik.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And please, again, feel free to stay and ask more questions. Sorry, it's just the time ran out.